It begins not with light, but with silence. A silence that deepens the farther we look. Not because the stars aren't there, but because they're already gone. Their light, stretched thin by time, arrives weaker each year. Telescopes designed to capture their final whispers now report nothing. Not a glitch, not interference, just absence. In the cold mathematics of cosmology, this isn't surprising. The universe is expanding, but what unnerves scientists isn't that it expands, it's that it accelerates. Galaxies once visible have now crossed a point of no return. The cosmological event horizon. They didn't explode. They didn't collapse. They simply moved too fast, rushing away at velocities that outpace even light's ability to chase them. Imagine waving to a ship as it vanishes beyond the curve of the sea. Except here, the sea is space itself, and the ship is everything we've ever known. Stars, nebulae, civilizations perhaps. Entire galaxies lost, not to destruction, but to distance. What's left behind is a smaller, lonelier universe. One day, only the local group, the Milky Way, Andromeda, and a few others, will remain visible. Beyond that, a black ocean, expanding forever. And the horror? It's already happening. Data from the James Webb Space Telescope confirms that more galaxies are crossing the threshold every year. Even now, there are stars we photographed in the 90s that are technically gone. Their photons will never reach us again. They were the last we'll ever see of them. The narration lingers on this paradox, that the universe is not static, not stable, but an ever-thinning sheet of memory pulled at the edges by something we do not understand. Dark energy. It has no mass, no form, no origin we can measure, but it wins over gravity, over light, over time. And what terrifies scientists most isn't its strength, but its indifference. It doesn't rage. It doesn't choose. It just pulls gently, eternally. Like forgetting, the universe, they whisper, is not dying in fire, but drifting into forgetfulness. A future not of cataclysm, but of quiet. A perfect silence, shaped not by loss, but by distance too great to recover. And as the stars recede, one by one, we're left with a haunting realization. We are the witnesses of an ending. Not dramatic, not explosive, but final. A slow unraveling of everything. A darkness that grows, not with violence, but with time. There is a pressure in the universe we cannot explain. It doesn't push. It doesn't pull. It expands. Like a breath taken without lungs, like a tension inside the very bones of space. We call it dark energy, not because it's evil, but because it evades all light, all measure, all comprehension. It makes up nearly 70% of the cosmos, yet it's never been seen, only felt, not in masses or motions, but in what doesn't happen. Galaxies don't slow. They race apart. Voids grow larger, and the further something is, the faster it flees. The numbers are wrong, violently so. Quantum field theory, the most precise tool in modern physics, predicts that empty space should hum with vacuum energy. Every point of nothing should flicker with violent energy bursts. But when we look outward, measure the cosmos, and calculate the true expansion rate, it's calm. Too calm. The difference? 10 to the power of 120. The greatest mismatch between theory and reality in the history of science. Not a crack in the model, a chasm. Some say it's a calculation error. Others whisper it's the subtraction of something, that the vacuum has been flattened, intentionally, as if wild energy once filled the void, but was carved down into stillness, like a volatile chamber sealed shut. The narration dives deeper. What if dark energy isn't a native force, but a residue? A dampening field across the cosmos, designed not to empower, but to contain? Physicists at CERN once joked about vacuum decay. The idea that our universe sits in a false stability, and that one day, a more fundamental version of physics might break in. But what if it already tried and failed? What if this gentle expansion is the side effect of a suppressed explosion? A fire that was prevented, a pressure valve still slowly hissing, because someone didn't want the original laws to win. The story turns colder. The closer we examine the cosmic microwave background, the more signs of uniformity we find. Regions too aligned, too balanced, too identical across space. As if they were reset. The implication is not just terrifying, it's sacrilegious. Perhaps we were not born in chaos. We were born in a box. One tuned precisely to maintain stability, not freedom. A dark force, not from nature, but from intention. A physics that whispers, stay in place. Because beyond the calm of dark energy, beyond the paradox of flattened fields, beyond the comfort of orderly stars, there may be something more violent. Something being kept out, or something waiting to return. At the edge of all light, a whisper remains. It is not sound, but the faint static of creation. The cosmic microwave background, the fossil echo of the Big Bang itself. Every direction you look, it hums the same cold song. A bath of ancient photons, drifting through space since the first second of time. But when you listen closely, the harmony fractures. There are blemishes in the light, cold spots, angular streaks, places where the background deviates, not chaotically but deliberately. And then there's the axis, a long, improbable alignment of temperature variations, stretched across billions of light years. It's been called many names, but one, whispered behind closed doors, sticks: the axis of evil, because it shouldn't exist. And worse, it points at us. The cold streak aligns not just with our galaxy, but with Earth's own orbital plane, as if the background noise of the universe, its oldest truth, was drawn with our perspective in mind. It's a joke to some, a statistical fluke, but the probability says otherwise, because randomness doesn't repeat. And yet this pattern does. Satellite data from COBE, WMAP, and Planck, 3 generations of deep sky observers, have all seen the same thing. Cleaned, filtered, enhanced. Still it remains. A scar in the sky that points to the very lens through which we observe it. The narration dives deeper. In simulations, such alignments are impossible unless a reference frame is imposed. Not from within the data, but from above it, like a watermark or a guide. A researcher once called it the cosmological eye. The idea that something embedded this directionality so that someone could find it. What if it's not a pattern we discovered? What if it's one we were meant to notice? The story shifts to silence. Several papers exploring the axis were quietly withdrawn or sidelined, not because of bad science, but because the implications were unpublishable, suggesting that we are special, that we are the center of any meaningful frame, is heresy in modern cosmology. But what if taboo is just the name we give to fear? Fear that the universe may not be indifferent, that it may be structured, not just by physics, but by intention, a direction embedded in randomness, a gaze behind the glow. We stare into the background of time, and time stares back, aligning its scars to match our sky. Not a message, not even a voice, just placement. In a universe this vast, silence should be impossible. There are more stars than grains of sand on Earth, more galaxies than we can map in 1,000 lifetimes, each one with planets, each planet a chance. And yet, nothing. No signal, no structure, no response, just quiet. This is the Fermi paradox, and it isn't a question anymore. It's a wound. We aren't wondering why we haven't heard from anyone. We're beginning to fear why the silence is so complete. Because silence in physics is rarely natural. It's rare, It's suspicious. Every time we turn our telescopes outward, tune our satellites to a new band, filter the noise for something intentional, we find nothing. Not white noise, not static, absence, like the universe is editing itself in real time to prevent connection. And when we do hear something, stray pulses, anomalous bursts, they never repeat. Or they shift frequency, or we lose them. It's as if something out there doesn't want a conversation to happen. The narration shifts toward darker possibility. What if silence isn't the absence of intelligence, but its product? A protocol, a cosmic filter, not to test civilizations, but to isolate them, to cage them, because the danger may not be war, or invasion, or misunderstanding. The danger may be notice. SETI researchers have long wondered why no signals match our expectations. But perhaps expectation is the problem. Perhaps the universe is structured to avoid resonance. Like a room tuned not to echo. And maybe the moment we do break the silence, the moment someone sends the wrong tone to the wrong coordinates, the room responds and closes. There are unconfirmed stories, signals we thought were glitches, stars that dimmed too quickly, civilizations lost in myth, not time, and always the silence returns. It's not just the absence of life, it's the presence of something else, something that maintains the quiet, something that requires it. The story closes not with revelation, but a warning. Not all silences are passive. Some are rules, and across the galaxy, across the cosmic void, the universe may be enforcing one.